Hey everybody, welcome to GMG Review. Today we're taking a look at Codex Adeptus Mechanicus, the latest free sample Games Workshop sent me of their Warhammer 40,000 Codex line. Now this book is a, oh geez, how big? It's 120 pages of rules, background, what's been going on with the Tin Boys, and generally the sort of like comings and goings of the Adeptus Mechanicus, adding in all their new units from the Psychic Awakening series like the Batman and the Gyrocopter and all the new stuff, as well as updating a bunch of data sheets and the core army rules as well, adding in all the new Crusade rules. They have a full Crusade set for 9th edition, and then Relics and Stratagems and all that good gizmo-y stuff too. So, full disclosure, I'm not a Mechanicus player. I'm going to give this a look from the point of view of a 40k player and how good it is at killing the sort of like big popular armies currently in the meta, like Dark Angels or, you know, maybe some Drukhari, stuff like that. So what we're looking at here is sort of an overview of the current like state of the book and what's in it. And a actual review of the book itself, so like the physical art and qualities of background and stuff like that. So I mean, if you've been under a rock, you might know that, or you might not know, that Belisarius Cawl has been responsible for a whole bunch of changes in the 40k universe, of course bringing in the Primaris Marines that apparently he just had under a rock for 10,000 years and didn't tell anybody about until the 11th hour, when of course the universe is split in half by the giant new Eye of Terror, the Cicatrix Maledictorum, that upended the apple cart in 8th edition and changed 40k to the modern 40k that we have now, the before and after style. They are the sort of like technological hegemony that has been in the solar system since the founding of the Imperium, and they are based on Mars as opposed to on Earth. They're dedicated to finding all the old technology that's sort of like laying around the galaxy, as well as maybe just interpreting a human spin on alien technology, although that's verboten. We would never do that, so please don't tell us about these things. But also we're going to try and take all of it and, you know, we're going to use it for ourselves because I really like the way that your eye implants work. And they were caught up in the Horus Heresy and stuff just like everybody else. The Fabricator General was a bad guy. He made a big virus. They downloaded all the malware into the Imperium, called the Scrap Code, and generally split in half just like the Imperium did during the big Civil War. So we get a background of, you know, some cool stuff like how the various arms of the Mechanicum work. Their standing army, which is the Scutari, and how that works. Some different war zones going on, stuff of like, you know, kind of like the core backgrounds for all the different units, things like Electro Priests, which are OG work, sort of like Rogue Trader units, up to like the new Iron Strider stuff, the Legio Cybernetica, which is all the robots. You know, they might have AIs, but they don't have AIs. They just work on logic programs. But isn't that just like a cheap AI? No, it's not an AI. AIs are bad. And all this sort of like kind of background stuff about why the Imperium doesn't use thinking machines. The Men of Iron, they went a little crazy, did some bad things. And then all those sort of like dramatis personae, so like Cawl himself, who's the big guy, who has been working to kind of like shadow save the Imperium with the Space Marines in different forges. So like Lucius, Agrippina, Stygies, Graia, Metalica Ryza, and then Triplex Fall, Voss Prime, Griffin Ford, Demos, and all of them, of course, will have some cool rules in here. We get to our art and color section, with obviously the great new models. Of course, you can't have knights without robot horses. I do like the Clockwork Horses. They are a pretty cool addition to the line for the new stuff. Cool new robots. There's actually an 80s movie that literally this Cataphragm Breacher thing is pulled from. I can't remember. Somebody posted a picture of it the other day. I'd forgotten about it completely. It's amazing. It's like a cheap Avenger. It was kind of like a cheap Iron Man, but he had like tank tread legs and machine gun arms. Made me laugh. And then all our robots, the Cataphract and Castellans. There's Cawl himself with his weird crab legs and Manipulus. And then just various color schemes. So nice big color section if you've never seen these guys before. And then we'll jump in to the rules, the thing everyone's waiting for. So, what do we got? It's a 9th edition codex. If you haven't seen one of these before, they're laid out into a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections, 8 sections. Battleforge rules for playing the game. Battleforge style with attachments and stuff, not open or matched narrative play. Army rules, which is your warlord traits and relics. Match play rules for chapter approved like mission upgrades and stuff, like your bespoke missions you can use as an army. Your Crusade rules for playing in narrative games. Data sheets, which is all the rules for your individual units. War gear, the point values, and then a rules reference and glossary. So full disclosure, I am not going to go through every single point it's changed. I hate doing that. That's a boring thing to do. If you want to see the points when I flip to it, I'm going to hold it up and you can skip ahead to that if you want. And of course, here's the comp patrol. So this is usually a box you can buy if you're interested in starting Mechanicus after you hear about this. It looks like it's going to be a Tech Priest, some Skitarii Rangers / Vanguard, the Dune Walker, I can't remember the first name for it, and then some of the Breachers. All right, detachment abilities. An Adeptus Mechanicus detachment is one that only includes Adeptus Mechanicus models, agents of the Imperium, or unaligned people. They get a Forge World Dogma. They get the Knights of the Cog if you are a Knights of the Cog. Adeptus Mechanicus detachments excluding support detachments, auxiliary support gain Knights of the Cog. Okay. And then troops of the Adeptus Mechanicus detachment gain the OBSEC ability, as described in the Warhammer 40,000 core book. Forge World Dogma is all Adeptus Mechanicus units, apart from servitors, with this ability, and all models in them gain a Dogma, as long as every unit in the detachment is from the same Forge World. And Dogma depends on which Forge World they're from. And the Knights of the Cog, for each detachment in your army with this ability, you can select one Questor Mechanicus Super Heavy Auxiliary detachment in your army. Models and detachment gain the Knight of the Cog ability. So basically, if you take if I take a patrol of Mechanicus now, which I can try out because I have some of that painted, I gain Knights of the Cog. I can now take a Super Heavy Auxiliary detachment in the army that's Questor Mechanicus, and they gain Knights of the Cog too. So basically, you can pull in a Knight for every other detachment in your army. So if I want to play like a cool little comp patrol-y 1,000-point game where I use a Knight as one of my Mechanicus, I can, which I think is kind of neat. And because I have a little army of Mechanicus painted already, I'm probably going to give that a try and see how it goes. But that's Knight, and it means you can take a single Knight, which is handy. And you get the actual traits and stuff too. So Forge Worlds, you get Warlord traits, Strats, and Arcana Mechanicums. These are relics, and they probably replace some existing war gear that is already on a model. So Mars, obviously, the big one. Their dogma is Masters of the Forge. Skitarii units with this dogma gain the Canticles the Omnisci ability. Each time a unit with this dogma is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll one hit roll when resolving that unit's attacks. So you get one single reroll for shooting if you're from Mars, and you get Canticles of the Omnisci. And your Skitarii, so your non-robot dudes, gain that ability as well. Warlord traits, Panegyric Procession. If in your command phase, you can select one friendly Mars Cult Mechanicus core unit within 6 of the Warlord. If you do so, select a Canticle. This can be one that has already been active in your army. Until the start of your next command phase, both this Warlord and that unit benefit from the selected Canticle instead of the one that's active for the army. So you can swap out a Canticle once per game, which is nice, and pass it to a core unit too. And that's sort of a neat once per game. If you have a really good one you've used early on that really fits your army build, then you can double down on it for a turn with a single core unit and your own Warlord. And then you get the Red Axe. It's an Omniscient Axe. It becomes +2 strength, -5 AP, and 2 damage, and you can make 3 additional attacks with it. So typically, you're fairly low attacks. I think the average, due to the Mechanicum Axe, let's look at some data sheets here real fast. So like a Tech Priest Dominus with his Omniscient Axe, he's only got 3 attacks. He's going to go up to 6, which would make him pretty decent in melee if he's from Mars then. And then your Bespoke Stratagem is Indentured Mission. Oops, that's wrong. Forge World completely, Ash. Go back to where you're supposed to be. Wrath of Mars for 1 or 2. Using the shooting phase when a Mars unit is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, if you get a wound roll of 6, it inflicts a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. If your power rating 11 or more, 2 CPs, otherwise costs 1 CP. So exploding 6 is doing mortal wounds. And who's got a decent number of shots? Let's look at something like, I don't know. You guys, Cataphren Destroyers with your heavy 5 grav cannon. Or what else? Actually, it would work on anything, I think. Yeah, it's Mars. It's everybody. So who's got the maximum number of shots we could put this on? I mean, The Cognos Flamer is a pretty cool target. So like you walk up with your Cognos Flamers and they're all D6 plus 2 hits, and it's on wound rolls it does mortal wounds. So you're auto hitting with, let's say there's 3 in a unit, so 3d6 plus 6. So potentially 24 hits, and every 6 to wound is a mortal wound. That's a handy little one. I mean, and you're cheap too. You're only power level 7. So you could pull that every shooting phase for 1 CP, just explode mortal wounds into people. That's a handy little combo. Who else has tons of shot that's relatively cheap and is under 11, so you can make it 1 CP? I mean, the auto hitting is the nice thing about that. I'm trying to think of anybody else who'd be nice that also auto hits. I mean, your electrostatic gauntlets would be handy to do that with too, because they're assault 3. So you get, and I mean, 10 of these guys is, I mean, 6 points wise. The power is what matters for the stratagems. So that's why we're going to talk about power. But you're looking at 6, you go to 9 power, you could take 15 of them, which would be 45 shots with exploding 6s to hit, doing 2 additional hits, and then fishing for mortal wounds on top of it too. Corpus Guard Electric Police, that's a pretty cool extra one. And then who else is kind of a good tons of shots for relatively low power candidate here? Even the Sulphur Hounds. I mean, your Phosphor Blast Carbine being assault 2d3 per model, and it's 2 to 8. Well, I mean, for 3 power, you can get 6 of them. Assault 2d3 each. So I'm trying to think of how many averages you're going to get with that. A 2d3 is usually averaging 4, just stats wise. So 4 times 2, 4, 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. 24 shots, no cover, but it doesn't automatically hit. Strength 5 minus 1 exploding 6s. That's not a bad candidate for like a hit and fire for 1 CP. I'm just trying to think of what we can keep under 11 here. Phosphor Torch on the Sterilizers isn't bad. That's a weird name. It auto hits though, assault D6. It's a bit more random than the Cataphragm are, but same range, bit faster. Iron Strider, obviously the Ballistari, 6 shots each are pretty good. You only get 2 of them though. These are 4 power. They're just the wrong amount of power for being, because you got to keep it under 10 to be able to do it for 1 CP. So I feel like the Breachers are pretty cool for that. The Castellans are exactly like 1 unit of 2 of them, but it's still not that many shots. Disintegrator, not that many shots. I think honestly your best bet is those 2 things. If you're trying to make that thing work, is going to be either the Destroyers with their Cognos Flamers, because that's just a cool, like, kind of, like, yeah, heavy, because a heavy gun has a Phosphor Blast and then Cognos Flamer. All the Phosphor Blasters can be replaced with Cognos Flamers, which I feel like is just a better idea there, because they're 12-inch range now. Yeah, that's a neat little combo for fishing mortal wounds and for relatively cheap. Lucius, your Dogma is Solar Blessing. Each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to a model in this Dogma, add 1 to armor saving throws made by that attack. So your +1 armor save, so you can cover +2 armor save against things that are damage 1. It's kind of cool. And then add 3 to the range characteristic of ranged weapons that models this Dogma are equipped with, which is, again, nice for all your Vanguard stuff that's fairly low range. It's like 18-inch range for a lot of those guns. Yeah, I mean, that works. There's so many damage 2 guns in the game now, though. Like, all the Splinter Cannons going up to damage 2, every heavy bolter being damage 2. Keep you safe from, like, bolters and stuff. Your trait's Luminescent Blessing. In your command phase, select a Lucius core unit with a 9 of the Warlord till the start of your next command phase. Each time an attack is made with that unit, a modified wound roll of 1 to 3 always fails, irrespective of any abilities that the weapon and model making may have. So you basically get transhuman physiology for 1 core unit in your command phase. I mean, that's pretty great. Within 9, this unit has transhuman physiology. It's got to be a core unit, which, I mean, we're talking about, and it's not like costing you, it's not a CP or anything like that. So core is going to be things like all your cavalry, your sterilizers, like most things that aren't vehicle are core at this point. The Dragoons are core. The robots are not core. So your robots don't count. None of your vehicles obviously count. Although sometimes they do. It's weird. The Dreadnought's like an exception to that with the Space Marines. The planes don't count. The Stratoraptor, no, none of that stuff counts. So we're talking about, do Breachers get it? Because that'd be pretty cool. The Sulphur Hounds do. The Raiders do. The Electropriests do. Ruststalkers, of course, do. The Datasmith doesn't use a character. The Infiltrators do, obviously. Servitors don't, weirdly, and neither do the Cataphron. Ugh. Nope, so nothing like that on the Breachers. That's it. So I guess your Cavalry would be a good candidate for, because they're relatively high wounds and durable. Obviously the Vanguard and the Rangers both have it. Who doesn't have core here? So your Infiltrators could be transhuman with their toughness 3 with 2 wounds. Like, they're still fairly squishy. The Raiders, toughness 4 with 2 wounds each. And the Sulphur Hounds, I don't know who's like diving into Cav, but they're fairly durable infantry. The Ballistari are pretty good. I mean, they're incredibly like intensive, but you could have a big unit of Calistari or Ballistari that are 4 each. And then, I mean, there's toughness 6 with 6 wounds, right? So like, yeah, Ballistari, like, they're a very cool fast attack choice. And their points, I mean, they're 4 power each, so 80 points-ish, usually, if we're looking at point-wise. So 80 points. You get a big fat unit of them. Where's our points at? Those are all weapons, points. Ballistari, fast attack. 1 to 6, or 65 points each. Actually, that's less than I thought for power. Weird, because it's usually like times 20. And then 65 points each if they have the twin Cognus last cannon, they're 10 points. So you're talking about, if you take 6 of them, 36 plus 30, 390, and then give as many last cannons as you want. I don't know, maybe 2 of them in the squad would have last cannons. Assault 2 last cannons are pretty cool. But the Cognus Auto being Assault 6, Strength 7, -1 D2 damage, it does a lot of work. With 6 plus Invul, they get Doctrine Imperatives and the Data Tether. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty tasty. Big fat unit of Ballistari with the Luminescent Blessing, and you're like have your Warlord follow them around and give them that. So you're only winning them in 1 to 4. Because at toughness 6, it effectively makes you toughness like always 1 better than double. Arcana Mechanicum, the Solar Flare, is your relic. Lucius model only. Once per battle in your movement phase, use this relic. If it does so, the bear's unit and the up to 1 friendly core unit within 3 of the bear can be removed from the battlefield and set up anywhere in the battlefield more than 9 from any enemy models. If units are set up in the battlefield using this relic, both units must be placed wholly within 6 of each other. So that's pretty cool. So you give Luminescent Blessing and you give the Solar Flare to the Warlord. It doesn't replace anything, so anybody could have it. And you have that unit, when it gets into trouble finally, just like teleport out, bamf away, and still be transhuman. Yeah, that's pretty great. And Legio Teleportarum. Use stratagem before the battle, during the declare reserve stratagem, transport step. Select 1 Lucius unit, excluding vehicle units from your army. You can set this up in the Teleportarium instead of setting up in the battlefield. If you do so, reinforcements up with 1 of your movement phases. And it says 1 of your movement phases, so maybe your first. You can deploy anywhere, not within 9 of the enemy. You can only use this once unless you're playing a Strike Force battle, in which case you could use it twice. Or Onslaught, in which case you use it 3 times. So that's neat. This is a neat Forge World, because I mean, obviously, +1 save against damage 1 weapons is huge. +3 range, so all those auto cannons and las cannons are a grand total of 51-inch range, which is, I mean, a small thing, but really important for rapid fire weapons. And then you can just take a big fat unit of like Iron Striders, have a Warlord who's like fast enough to keep up with them, which could be, oh, who do we want? Who looks good for that we can still give items to? Could be the Marshal, probably not. Tech Priest, probably not. I mean, they move 6 instead of 10, which is nice. You're not going to move too much. They all move 6. So really, just pick who you want and just stick them behind them, and then they teleport away when something gets too close. And they just shoot. Who augments them the best? Really, Call is great for that, but he can't be given items, so that's not going to work because he's unique. Probably the Manipulus. What does he less reroll? Anything? No, he heals. 1 friendly Forge World, so he could heal that unit up D3 lost wounds per turn, which is nice. Galvanic Field. Arc and Radiant Weapons would get effect, so not really anything good there. Dominus would also heal. There we go. I think the Dominus is probably the one, because then you can just, while friendly Forge World core units within 6, each time they make an attack, reroll hit rolls a 1. And you just give the Dominus the upgrades and have them like hide out with them. Then you can still heal, you can reroll ones, and then that big fat unit just like sits around dumpstering out autocannon shots and stuff. That's a cool brick combo for Lucius. And is obviously +1 save as well if it's 1, which is, I mean, what are we looking at for these Ballistari? It's not an inexpensive unit, obviously, because you're talking about 6 like vehicle-sized things. But 2+ saves, toughness 6, 6 wounds. They get healed D3. You can only wound them on a 4+. That ain't bad. And they get healed every round too. That ain't bad. I like it. They can't go in the teleportarium though because they're vehicles. Agrippina. Each time model this dog makes a range attack within half range, better AP. It's Mafreet Dynasty basically. And then each time a unit declares a charge against a unit with this dogma, if the unit's not within engagement range of an enemy unit, it can hold steady or set defend. So basically they count as being in cover for hitting on 5s or getting +1 hit in melee. That's kind of cool. 5+ Overwatch if you want to hold steady. And then Verse of Vengeance. Actually, Instead Defend doesn't cost you a CP either, which is also really nice because it's not an Overwatch. It's just you get +1 hit in melee. In the Verse of Vengeance, in your command phase, select one friendly Agrippina core unit within 6 of the warlord. Each time a model in that unit is destroyed by an attack made by an enemy model, roll 1d6 on a 4+. Don't remove them from play. It can, after the attacking model its unit has finished making its attack, either shoot with one of its ranged weapons, as if it was your shooting phase, or make an attack in the fight phase. And then after it's destroyed, remove from play. So you basically hand out the Space Marine banner to a unit and let it shoot. I don't know if that's super useful because you don't have there's not really a great equivalent to like Space Marine Devastators in this army. That I mean, they're way more expensive per model, so losing one isn't as likely. But it doesn't cost you anything, so it's kind of a cool ability. The Eye of Zelexum is your Mechanicum, or sorry, your Arcana. Model, Agrippina model only. At start of your shooting phase, select one enemy vehicle with an 18. Until the end of the phase, the bearer gains the following ability. Aura, while a friendly Agrippina core or Cataphron servitors unit within 6 of this model. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets the selected vehicle unit, reroll a wound roll. So you get reroll wounds against a single vehicle. Not great against some armies. Obviously doesn't do anything with Tyranids, but kind of handy against Knights for sure. Indentured Machines, 1 CP. Use a stratagem before the battle. Select one Agrippina servitors unit in your army. Add one of the toughness characteristics of models in that unit. A unit can only be selected by the stratagem once, and you can use it twice in Strike Force or 3 times in Onslaught. So, Cataphrons basically get +1 toughness. That's pretty cool. You could beef up a big unit of Cataphrons from 5 to 6 for 1 CP each. So if you took 2 big fat units of them, both toughness 6 for a CP each, not bad. And give them half range, -1 AP. Give them a Freet. Graia, Dogma, Refusal, Yield. Each time a combat attrition test is taken, it's automatically passed. So you just basically lose a model and then everybody else is fine. Each time a model with this Dogma would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, it's got a 5+ Shrug. And then Mantra of Disciplines, your warlord trait. In your opponent's charge phase, sort of the heroic intervention step, select a friendly core unit within 9 of this warlord. Till the end of the phase, if they're within 6 horizontally and 5 vertically of any enemy units, they can perform a heroic interaction as if they're a character, and then they can move 6 inches. So basically, people can jump in and save you if you're the warlord trait. And then it's the Cerebral Technomitra, Secondary Brain. It's a Tech Priest model only. Add 3 inches to the range of the bearer's aura abilities to a maximum of 9. And each time that the bearer uses an ability in your command phase that specifies a range, add 3 inches to it. It's not bad. And Steel Mind, Iron Logic. Use this stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase. When an enemy psyker manifests power with an 18 of a Graia for a unit from your army. On a 4+, the psychic power is denied. So a 4+ roll to deny psychic powers with an 18 of any of the units in your army. So they just go, no! I mean, it's once per turn because it's a stratagem, right? So still handy for that clutch one that people are really counting on. Stygies VIII. Dogma, Shroud Protocols. Each time a ranged attack from a targets a vehicle unit, excluding the units with the core keyword from this dogma, if the attacker is more than 18 away, they are treated as having the benefits of dense cover, so -1 hit and +1 save. Each time a ranged attack targets a unit, excluding vehicle units with the core keyword with this dogma, if the attacker is more than 12 away, then the target's treated as having the benefits of dense cover against the attack. So basically vehicles and regular units. Each time a ranged attack targets a unit, excluding vehicles, units without the core keyword. Each time a ranged attack targets a vehicle unit, excluding units with the core keyword. Oh, so it's 18 for vehicles, 12 for infantry. Is really the difference here. That's why they've worded it differently. So vehicles are they have to be a bit further away to benefit from dense cover, but still cool. Each time this dogma declares a charge, none of the targets can hold steady or set defend. That's nice too. You basically blow through charges. So you're kind of the Alatok of the Mechanicus. And then Veiled Hunter, at the start of your first battle round, you can select 2 friendly Stygies VIII units wholly within your deployment zone. Remove them from the battlefield and set them up anywhere in the battlefield that's wholly within your deployment zone. If the mission uses strategic reserves, any of those units can be placed into strategic reserves without having to spend any additional CPs, regardless of how many units are already there. If both players have abilities to redeploy, roll off to see which one goes first. So, neat warlord trait. Just pull off 2 units or redeploy them. And then your Arcana is the Omniscience Hand. Once per battle at the start of the end of the fight phase, right, you can use this relic. If you do so, roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 12 of the bearer. 2 to 5, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. On a 6, take d3 mortal wounds. They just get zapped. And then Clandestine Infiltration for 1 CP. Use a stratagem during your deployment. Select 1 Stygies VIII core infantry unit from your army, and you set that unit up. It can be anywhere in the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone and any enemy models. Forge Worlds Ryza. Dogma, Red in Cog and Claw. That's a classic. I like that name still. Each time a model with a Dogma makes a melee attack, if it made a charge move, add +1 to the attack's wound roll. Or performed a heroic intervention, the usual, like if it's a new combat. And then +1 charge rolls for units with this Dogma. So they like to fight up close. Your warlord trait is Citation in Savagery. At the start of the fight phase, select 1 friendly Ryza core unit within 6 until the start of the next fight phase. Each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, the armor characteristic is improved by 1. So melee gets buffed for 1 unit. And then your weapon XCIX, there's a number there that I can't remember what that's going to be. 10, 100, so 1,000. 10, 100 is 1,000. 9, 1,009, weapon 1,009, I think, but it would be M, wouldn't it? I don't know. It's your Volkite Blaster. It's 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 7, -2, 2 damage, and each time attack is made with this weapon, on an unmodified wound roll of 6, does 2 mortal wounds in addition to normal damage, so that's a pretty cool gun. And then Plasma Specialist is your battle tactic stratagem. Using the shooting phase on a Ryza unit selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a plasma weapon, add 1 to its damage. So +3 damage. Oof. So it's 2 CPs, but there's no like big unit bump. Who's got good plasma? Your Cataphront Plasma Culverin's pretty cool. So you could just have unexploding standard shots, heavy d6, strength 7, -3, 2 damage. Or you go to 8, -3, 3 damage, which would be nice as well. But it's random shots, and it's blast though, so a big unit could just get toasted with that. Who else has got some cool plasma guns? I mean, obviously there's the base plasma guns, plasma cannons you can put on servitors. Not you. You guys are all melee. Do you get plasma? Not really. It's all phosphor stuff for them. Blasters, flechettes. Autocannons, phosphor, radium, combustors, heavy phosphor blasters. You don't get a ton, like that's a cool stratagem for 1 CP, but it's, oh sorry, it's 2 CPs, isn't it? Yeah, it's 2 CPs. But it's really just those guys, it looks like, that are gonna benefit from it. Just looking for sneaky plasma in here. It's just like the odd plasma weapon, and then those the breachers rather, that are really going to benefit. Because you can have a plasma gun, obviously, plasma caliber on your Skitari and stuff like that. But it's just not the breachers, the destroyers, Cataphront destroyers. With their plasma culverins that really benefit. Although I'm sure there's some plasma in Forge World units I'm not thinking of that might be able to benefit from it as well. And then Metalica, their dogma is Relentless March. Models of dogma don't suffer the penalty to hit rolls for firing assault weapons when they run. They don't suffer the penalty to hit rolls for firing heavy weapons if they move. And while an enemy unit's within engagement range from a unit with this dogma, the enemy unit is being below half strength for their combat attrition. Cool. Your warlord trait is Emphatic Veneration. At the end of your movement phase, select one enemy unit within 12 of the warlord. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, do -1 to hit. And then your Arcana is Mechanicum Adamantine Arm. It's a Metallica model only, and you just get a cool arm. ×3 strength, -3 AP, 4 damage. Each time this bearer fights, no more than one attack can be made with this army, or this weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, add 1 to the hit roll. So you get 1 really good punch at strength ×3, -3 AP, 4 damage. Who's got strength 4 so we could be strength 12? Who's got strength 5 so we could be strength 15? And you get your one punch man. Who can be one punch man? The Manipulus is strength 4. Dominus is strength 4. Technologist is strength 4. So you'd be strength 12 to one punch man. Strength 9 if you're a marshal. Skitarii marshal. Engine Seer is just strength 4. There's not really anybody super good to give it to, but anybody could have it. And you'd be one punch manning people. I like that. ×3, -3, damage 4. Strength 12. And then Deafening Assault. It's your War Gear stratagem. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. When a metallic unit from your army is selected to shoot, select one enemy unit within 12 at the start of your next turn. Have their move characteristic, and then the enemy cannot fire Overwatch or set defend. So for 1 CP, you just scream at somebody, and they can't set defend, and they have their move. But not vehicle units. So you can't scream at Titans, but you could scream at the Swarlord, or Swarmlord, and just be like, no! And he's half movement. They can't Overwatch or set defend. That's hilarious. I like that. Not a vehicle, but you could do it to any non-vehicles. And then Distant World. So this is the make your own Forge World rules. You do this by selecting a primary doctrine and then selecting one of that primary's associated secondary doctrines. So they're basically all themed: Rad Saturated, Expansionist, Data Horde, Reignited Forge World, or Slaved System. And then after that, you can add a different one. So, and the Slave System is kind of like based on the big ones. So Rad Saturated, your primary is each time a ranged attack made by a core unit with this doctrine is more than 12 inches away from the attacker, subtract 1 from the strength characteristic of the attacks. Your -1 strength to attacks that are more than 12 inches away from you. So it's kind of it's actually slightly worse than being +1 toughness, but it's still pretty cool. Just on your core units too, so it doesn't affect the breachers, it doesn't affect like all the cataphrane stuff for the vehicles, the robots. And then you pick one of the following. Either Luminary Suffusion, you gain the, most of this dogma gain the following aura. Extreme Rad Saturation, while enemy units within, excluding vehicles within 3 of you. Subtract 1 from strength and toughness characteristic models in the army. Scarifying Weapons, add 1 of the strength characteristic and improve the armor penetration characteristic of by 1 of radiant weapons. So that one's pretty cool. And then Machine Gods Chosen, ignore all your modifiers to combat attrition. I mean, your -1 strength to shoot them from over 12 away, and then +1 strength and arm penetration on all radiant weapons. I mean, Vanguard sure like their radiant weapons. Radium Carbine's Assault 3, Strength 4, -1 all of a sudden. That's pretty tasty. And 6s to hit automatically wound. That's pretty good. I really like that. I really like that. That is like a build your own. Expansionist, your primary is Accelerated Actuators. Each time a unit with this dogma fights, if it made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn until that fight is resolved. The AP characteristic of melee weapons are improved by 1. And then your secondaries are Forward Operations. You get to pick one of these. At the start of the first battle round, each time a Skitarii core model in your army with this dogma makes a normal move of up to 3 inches. Can make a normal move up to 3 inches at the start of the first battle round. This is in addition to any other abilities that would allow them to make a normal move. They cannot end within 9 inches of any enemy models. So basically, you get a little 3-inch like bump to your deployment, but you count as moving. Secondary, Acquisitive Reach, adds 6 of the range characteristic of rifle and carbine weapons that you have with your models this dogma have. So that's neat. I mean, you're talking about rapid firing now at, stay on here. Talking about rapid firing at range 36. Yeah, it's +6, isn't it? Yeah, +6. So range 36 with your arc rifles. That's pretty cool. Sorry, with your certainly arc rifle, with your galvanic rifle. No, what do your rangers have? They're all armed with galvanic rifles, right? Yeah, heavy 2. Oh, you don't rapid fire. You're heavy 2 now, 30. Never mind. You don't rapid fire at all. Arc rifle is what I'm thinking of. But again, that's not, it's the radium carbine that does that. So your rifles get 6-inch range. So you're just 36-inch range with the heavy weapons. That's pretty cool. I forgot they're not rapid fire anymore. Weird. And then Rugged Explorators is your other secondary. Models in this unit do not suffer the penalties to hit rolls incurred for firing heavy weapons if they move. And vehicle models in this unit do not suffer the penalty to hit rolls for firing assault weapons if they advance. And that's actually pretty cool. So no -1 to hit with your assault weapons while you run. Only for vehicles though. And then Data Hoarding Forge Worlds. Your primary is Magna Bonded Alloys. Each time a vehicle model would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 6, it's not lost. So you get a 6+ wound shrug on all your robots, your vehicles, your tanks, your planes. Omnitrack Impellers. And sorry, that would also apply, I'm pretty sure, to your Knight. Your Knight would get a 6+ wound shrug if you allied one in, because he gets the dogma. Omnitrack Impellers. Add 2 to the move characteristic of Cataphrone Servitors and Onager Dune Crawlers with this dogma. And then Auto Savant Spirits. At the start of your command phase, each vehicle model in your army with this dogma regains a lost wound. Models with this dogma whose characteristics can change as they suffer damage are considered to have double the number of wounds remaining for the purpose of determining which secondaries there are. So, yeah, you wanna make your own. You can ally a Knight in, get a wound back every turn, and double your wound track. And then your other secondary is servo-focused auguries. Each time a model with this dogma makes a range attack with a Cognus weapon that targets a unit within half range, reroll the hit rolls. So get better with your Cognus weapons. So that's a neat, like, that one right there is if you want to pull in Knights to this army, you could take, like, I mean, you can only have 3 detachments. So you could go, you're really getting 1 Knight. So take a big Knight, have him double his wound track, get a lost wound back every turn and get a 6+ wound shrug. This is pretty cool. And he counts as part of your army too for everything else. And then Reignited Forge World, Purgation Protocols. Each time a core model with this dog makes a range attack on an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve its AP by 1. And then secondaries are Data Bleed Generators. Each time an enemy model makes a melee attack with, against a unit with this dogma, if that enemy unit makes a charge move, was charge or performs a heroic intervention, you're -1 for the attack's hit roll. So basically, like, you're bad at hitting if you charge me. And then Purified Data Sphere, add 3 to the range of auras, excluding the rad saturation ability of units with this dogma to a maximum of 9. And then secondary Engineered Nanophages. Each time a melee attack made with a model this dogma is allocated to a model with a save of 3 or better, the AP is improved by 1. So you're better at attacking Space Marines specifically, basically. And then Slave Systems. It's closely aligned to, like, one of the parent ones. So the parent protocol, select one of the following Forge Worlds and use the dogma. So Agrippina, Graia, Lucius, Mars, Metalica, Ryza, Stygies VIII. This primary dogma is not does not have any associated secondary dogmas. If a character model with this dogma gains a warlord trait, they can have the Forge World warlord trait associated with the Forge World they're selected instead of the other one. If it does so, replace all instances of the Forge World keyword in any of the names of the Forge World the character's from, unless the only units with this dogma are part of an auxiliary support. Super Heavy Auxiliary and or Fortified Network Detachment, you will gain the associated Forge World stratagem associated with the Forge World that you selected. When using this stratagem, replace all instances of the Forge World keyword on the stratagem, i.e. Lucius, with the Forge World the units with this dogma are from. So basically, you're not those Forge Worlds, but you're a Forge World of your own name, but you use those Forge Worlds rules. It's a long way of saying that. Stratagems. All right, so we're jumping in. There's actually not that many. I mean, 4 pages. That seems light now for a GW Codex. So Zealous Congregation. Use a stratagem in the fight phase. When an Electro Priest unit from army selected to fight until the end of the phase, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, an unmodified roll of 6 automatically wounds. So 6 is to hit, auto wound. Dune Striders for 1 CP, and that's 2 CPs, which feels heavy for using Electro Priests. Dune Striders is 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your movement phase when an Iron Strider or Cerberus unit from your army selected to fight until the end of the turn. Each time they advance, do not make an advance roll. Instead, it's just +6 move. The type characteristic of heavy weapons is changed to assault, and models in that unit do not suffer the penalty to hit rolls for firing assault weapons when they advance. So that's a handy one to be able to turn all of those. Where is it? Remember that brick I was building of the Iron Strider Ballisteri? Yeah, So now they can run. I mean, everything was assault already anyway, but for 1 CP, they can ignore the mods to hit. And auto go 6. They'll just go 16. Because I'm pretty sure they are Iron Strider engines. Yeah, they are, for sure. And it's only 1. Assassin constructs for 1, using the fight phase when a Psycharian unit from your army selected to fight. If that unit made a charge move, was charged, or otherwise heroically intervened, add 1 of the attack characteristic of them. So +1 attack on the charge for 1 CP for your Psycharian units. Electromancer's Wrath for 1 CP, using the shooting phase. Select 1 enemy unit, excluding vehicles, within 12 of an Electro Priest unit. Roll a d6. -1 if it's a character. On a 2 to 5, it's D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it takes 2 D3 mortal wounds. That's a pretty cool bomb for Electro Priests. Now, the Electro Priest can't target characters with it. They specifically don't let you blow them up because the -1 means you can never roll a 6, but 2 D3 is pretty tasty, and D3 for 1 CP is not bad. It auto hits. Machine Superiority for 1 CP. You use this stratagem in the fight phase when a Skatar unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, add 1 of the strength characteristic models in that unit. Illumination Volley for 1 CP. Use stratagem in your shooting phase when a Cataphron Servitors unit from your army is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each MMO model in that unit makes an attack that targets a unit within half range. 6 automatically wounds. Seems yeah. I mean, your Cataphrons are pretty great, and having 6 hit auto wound would probably be good for the super multi-shot ones. I don't feel like it's great for... I mean, your Flamers don't care. Your Grav Cannons might be good for auto wounding. And they go up to damage 2 too, if they're attacking big things. Data Spike for 1 CP. Using the fight phase when Adeptus Mechanicus Tech Priest model in your army is selected to fight. Select a vehicle with an engagement. 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they take D3 + 3. That's nice. He plugs in and gives it the bad scrap code. 1 for Benevolence of the Omnissiah. Using the fight phase when a Mechanicus vehicle model in your army would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound. Until the end of the phase, each time they lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, on a 4+, it's shrugged. So a 4+ shrug for mortal wounds. Could have situational handiness for certain armies. Tech Adept for 1 CP. Use a stratagem at the start of your command phase or at the start of your movement phase and select a Tech Priest model in your army. If it's your command phase, they can use its Machine to Focus or Awaken the Machine ability 1 additional time. And if your movement phase, you can use it to Master the Machine's ability 1 additional time that phase. So basically being able to double heal, or where are you? You can double heal, so you can heal 2 different units as opposed to just 1. And then is it Lord of Machines? No. Machine Focus or Awaken the Machine ability. Where's Machine Focus and Awaken the Machine ability? Machine Focus for your Techno-Archaeologists, that's right. They can become infantry, and while it's performing an action, it can make range attacks without failing. So basically you can double down doing actions with the Archaeologist. Machine Spirit Resurgence, basically top bracket your vehicle, have it come back with full wounds for 1 turn. Data Blessed Auto Sermon for 2 CPs, using your command phase, and that's Machine Spirit Resurgence handy too if you're going to take a Titan ally, because obviously you're a vehicle then. Data Blessed Auto Sermon for 2 CP. Actually, you might not be a Mechanicus vehicle. Actually, that might not work, because I'd have to see the keywords again. I can't remember if you take a Questor Mechanicus, if they have the Adeptus Mechanicus tag. I don't know if they do. It might be Questor Mechanicus they have. So that one might not specifically work on them, but I'll have to double check. It still could. Actually, I could just look right now. Because I could look in the 40K app, couldn't I? I was like, I'm not going to dig out my books, but you know what I could do? I could look at Codex, Adeptus, Mechanic. Oh no, sorry, it'd be Codex Imperial Knights. There we go. Data sheets. I'm looking at you, Knight Gallant or Paladin or anybody. Keywords. Questor Allegiance, Imperium, Imperial Knights / Household. So Questor Allegiance, I think, is where you choose if it's Questor Mechanicus or Questor Imperialis. I don't think it gains the Adeptus Mechanicus keyword. Unless that was what it said you got at the beginning, and I missed that, which it could still. Of the cog. Nope. You can select 1 Questor Mechanicus Super Auxiliary Detachment in your army, and they gain that into the cog keyword. And if you're Knights of the Cog, you gain, what is it? You gain for being Knights of the Cog. All Adeptus Mechanicus models of this army. Is that the next page? No, it's not. Adeptus Mechanicus detachments gain Forgeable Dogmas. Adeptus Mechanicus detachments, excluding auxiliary support detachments, gain Knights of the Cog. Troops units in this Adeptus Mechanicus detachment gain objective secured. Nope, so nothing. Doesn't work. Don't think it works. Unless, I mean, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, obviously. Data Blessed Auto Sermon. Use it in command phase. Select one Mechanicus unit in your army within 6 of a friendly Tech Priest model and select a Canticle that has not yet been active in your army. Until the start of your next command phase, you can count that Canticle as being active for your army in addition to the currently active one. So for 2 CBs, you get double dip on Canticles, basically, for a unit. Archaeotech Specialist for 1 CP. Use Stratagem before the battle when you're mustering your army. And get an additional relic, basically. Mechanicus Locum for 1 CP. Use a Stratagem before the battle when you're selecting a warlord. Get additional warlord. Well, it's additional warlord trait on a guy. Hosty Intermediary for 1. Using it before the battle when you're mustering your army. If your warlord has the Adeptus Mechanicus keyword, select one Scutari model from your army that has the word Alpha or Princeps in their profile and determine one Scutari warlord trait for that model. The model is only regarded as a warlord for the trait, so you get a bonus Scutari warlord. Artifact Totem. Use before the battle when you're mustering your army. Select one Scutari model in your army that has the word Alpha or Princeps, and give him a relic. From the following list: Cage of Veridimus, Tempor Corpia, the Omniscient Mask, and the Skull of Elder Nicola. And it must be unique. So basically, you can use this twice if you're playing Strike Force, and then 3 if you're playing Onslaught, or just once normally. So it's basically veteran sergeants, warlord trait for like a Scutari guy, additional Tech Priest warlord trait, and then additional relic. And the relics, you can do twice in a Strike Force and 3 times in an Onslaught. Binaric Override for 1 CP. Use Stratagem at the start of your fight phase. Start of any phase. Select one Castellan Robot unit from your army and one of the available protocols found on its data sheet. That protocol replaces the one that's currently active. Till the end of the game, that unit's active protocols cannot be changed. You can only use the Stratagem once. So basically, one time you can override their codes. And their Binaric Override codes are pretty important to their functioning. Where is it? Castellans. There we go, Castellan robots. So they can either have a 2+ save, save characteristic 2+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, when it cannot move. And then that's it. So basically you could switch one of these things. So you can give them a 2+ save to begin with for the Aegis protocol, and then they stand still and shoot if you want to change it, but you can't change them twice, so you're stuck with whatever you have afterwards. All right, acquisition at any cost. Use a stratagem at the start of the morale phase. Select one objective marker in the battlefield till the end of the phase. Each time a Mechanicus unit from your army takes a morale test, if it's within 6 of the objective, it's passed. Yay! So you just stake a claim. One for Machine Spirit's Revenge. Use in any phase. When a vehicle model in your army is destroyed, it just blows up. One for Circuitous Assassins. Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select one Sicarian unit from your army that's wholly within 9 of any battlefield edge. Take it off the table. And the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, you can place it back in the battlefield anywhere that's wholly within 9 of any battlefield edge and more than 9 from the enemy. And if it ends before you do that, it's destroyed. One CB for Deeply Sunk Talons. Using your opponent's movement phase when an enemy unit is selected to fall back. If that unit is within engagement range of any Teraxi Sterilizer units, roll a d6 on a 2+, they can't fall back. So basically, the chicken leg men grab them with chicken legs and don't let go. 2-piece, I mean, if you're in melee with those guys though, they're just so okay. Where are they? The Sterilizers. Toughness 3, 2 wounds, 4+ save. Like, I get it. They're just supposed to be humans with chicken legs. Did you really want to be in melee with them? They have 2 attacks each. I mean, their talons are okay. It's just strength 4-1. Taser goad's kind of okay. Like, if you're in melee with those guys already, they're probably gonna die. And those are the melee ones, the Sterilizers. Tactica Obliqua. Use stratagem in your opponent's charge phase when a Sybarix Raider unit from your army is selected as a target of a charge. If that unit's not within engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move. Until the end of the phase, that unit cannot fire, overwatch, or set defend. Your opponent can then select new targets for that charge. So basically, no. They just fall back. Crushing Weight, 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your charge phase when an Iron Strider engine or Castellan robot unit from your army finishes a charge move. Select one enemy unit within engagement range and roll a d6 for each model in that unit. And on 2+, take a mortal wound. So, yeah, this is another one that leans into my 6 Iron Strider Bellastari argument. I mean, yeah, they're just a single fast attack choice. If you take 6 of them, and then 6 2+ mortal wounds on the charge, that could really finish something off for 1 CP. You just drive into a vehicle and do 6 mortal wounds to it. Or just run into a vehicle and do 6 mortal wounds to it. Electroshock for 1 CP, using the start of the fight phase, select a enemy unit, excluding vehicles or monsters, with an engagement of a Cult Mechanicus core or Cult Mechanicus character unit from your army. And to the end of the phase, that enemy unit is not eligible to fight until after all eligible units have done so. So you just slow them down by electro shooting them. And the Cult Mechanicus stuff is I think it's just the Electro Priests for the most part. Anybody else? Cult Mechanicus? Cult Mechanicus? Yes. Yes. Servitors are Cult Mechanicus. Oh, everybody's Cult Mechanicus. Never mind. Yeah, Cataphrone Destroyers are Cult Mechanicus. Sorry, I thought, because Adeptus Mechanicus is one of them. The Engine Seers one, the Marshals. So it's any non-Skitarii unit, basically, because they're all Cult Mechanicus. So the Skitarii Rangers and the Vanguard don't get it, but the Breachers do. So you can taser everybody. Servitors do. Oh, that's huge, actually. Yeah, the Datasmith is. The Infiltrators aren't, and the Restalkers aren't, because they're all Skitarii. And the Raiders aren't, and stuff like that. But all the robots get it. They all get Cult Mechanicus, it looks like. Yeah, the Sterilizers don't. The Ballastaris don't. The Dragoons, of course, don't. But the robots sure do. Ugh, there you go. So, yeah, why not? Go in and throw the Cult Mechanicus core. Oh, sorry. You know what, then? It doesn't work on those robots because they're not core. That's why that doesn't work. I'm surprised by how much Cult Mechanicus stuff, because it has to be core or a character. So the characters can all do it. And then core is only it actually is exactly what I thought. It's only the Electro Priests, because they're core. Yeah, so it's these guys, basically. They get to do the zaps. The servers aren't core, but the characters can. So any of the characters can, and the other guys can. Still handy. Booster Thrust for 1 CP. Use a stratagem at the end of your turn. Select 1 Taraxi unit from your army, and remove them from the battlefield, and they can come back as reinforcements, not with none of the enemy. So they just go away. They go. Seismic Bomb for 1 CP. Use stratagem in your movement phase when an Archaeoraptor Fusilier model finishes a move. Select an enemy unit that they moved over that isn't Titanic or can fly until the start of your next movement phase. They're shaken. While shaken, they have their move and have advance and charge rolls. So you just fly over somebody and they slow down. Chain Taser Protocols for 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your fight phase when a Adeptus Mechanicus unit in your army is selected to fight till the end of the phase. Each model makes an attack with a taser weapon. An unmodified roll of 5+, takes 2 additional hits. Info Slave Skull. Use the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase. Select a Mechanicus core unit from your army. That's not in engagement range. That unit can shoot as if it was your shooting phase, but this model, its models can only target a single eligible unit that was set up as reinforcements, and that's within 12. So if someone shows up next to you, one of your core units can shoot them for 2 CPs. You just go, surprise! I mean, that can be very handy. Wait, are the Bellastari core? They better be. I don't know why I'm so up on the Bellastar right now. They're my new, I like this unit. Sure are. Of course they are. So you can't even sneak up on them with reinforcements because they'll just obliterate you with autocannon shots. Electrofilament countermeasures, 2 CPs. Use a stratagem at the end of your movement phase. Select 1 Archaeopter, it should be Copter, model in your army that's equipped with a command uplink and 1 enemy unit within 6 of that model. Until the start of your next movement phase, that enemy unit is not affected by aura abilities of other enemy units. That's pretty handy for when the auras, from Nurgle and stuff from the Death Guard, are affecting you. So you just turn that unit's aura abilities off, basically. Arc Grenades for 1 CP. Use stratagem in your shooting phase when a Adeptus Mechanicus Arc Grenades unit from your army is selected to shoot. Select 1 enemy vehicle within 6, roll a d6 on a 2+, take d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, that vehicle takes 2 d3 mortal wounds. So who's got Arc Grenades? That's a pretty handy little toss. Arc grenades could be on not any of you guys. Not any of you guys. Who's got arc grenades? Not any of you guys. Wait. Nope. Arc grenades? Someone must have them. Unless it's an upgrade I don't know about. Nope. 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 Arc grenades, arc grenades. Is an upgradable keyword? Who gets it then? Arc grenades. It must be an upgrade somebody can take. Marshals, no. Rangers, can you have arc grenades? You can have... No. Vanguard, can you have arc grenades? Nope. I don't see arc grenades anywhere in here. It's usually just a keyword, like whatchamacallit launchers. Like assault launchers is a keyword. Arc grenades? I'm not seeing arc grenades anywhere. Nope. I'll see it can move through walls, girders, chains, and foliage. Terrain features of visible terrain. No, no. Why am I not seeing? Maybe the tech priests have them? Nope. They'd be the ones you'd think would have them with all their electricity stuff. I don't know who has arc grenades. I'm sure someone will explain to me where I'm missing this, but it looked, I figured it would be either an upgrade to add the keyword to somebody, or it would be a keyword somebody already had, and I'm just not seeing that keyword anywhere. Taser goods, stub carbines, sulfur hands. Maybe you guys have arc grenades? No. Or like the riders would have arc grenades? What are your options? No. Data tethers? I'm just not seeing them. So either I'm losing... Oh, here we go. The Traxi Skystalkers have them. Yay, someone has them. I was like, I thought I was losing my mind. Okay. So the Skystalkers have them. So you can have these guys engage an enemy vehicle and do a whole bunch of mortal wounds for 1 CP. That's not bad. 2 to 5 is D3. I mean, multiple units can really mess somebody, but you can only use that once per round anyway. Meh. It's okay. Incense exhausts for 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase. When Adeptus Mechanicus smoke screen unit from your army is selected to be the target of attack until the end of the phase, -1 to hit. Enriched rounds. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Mechanicus unit from your army is selected to shoot until the end of the phase, each model in that unit makes an attack with a radium weapon against enemy units that aren't vehicles. I'm off on 4+ auto wounds. That's nice. That's really nice, actually. If you want to take the extra radium weapon one, where is it? So you take a Rad Saturated Forge World, +1 strength and AP, and you're gonna get +1, so strength 4 -1, and the enriched rounds now on a 4+ auto wound with 3 shots each. Ugh. So 30 strength 4 -1s, so just 30 -1s basically on a 4+. That's huge. That's a really handy. That's a really handy ability. I like that ability for Vanguard. Galvanic Volley Fire. Used in your shooting phase. When a Skitarii ranged unit from your army is selected to shoot to the end of the phase, the Galvanic rifles become Rapid Fire 2 as opposed to Heavy 2. So that's nice. Switch over to be 4 shots each basically at whatever range is, half range, so 15. Overloaded systems for 1 or 2. Use stratagem in any phase when an enemy vehicle model loses 1 or more wounds as a result of an attack made by an arc weapon by a Mechanicus unit from your army. If that enemy vehicle model characteristics can change as it suffers damage, roll a dice on a 2+ until the start of your next command phase. That enemy vehicle is considered to be half the number of wounds remaining for the purposes of its characteristics. If they're Titanic, it's 2. That's really cool. I really like that ability. You can just like short somebody out. All right, and then Holy Orders. If your army is, and these are basically the Space Marine chapter upgrades. If your army is battle-forged and includes any Adeptus Mechanicus detachments, then Adeptus Mechanicus tech priests can be from a holy order. So the Janitors, the Logi, the Magi, and the Artisans, they all do something different. So for Janitors, it's either +1 power or +25 points, Logi +35 or +2, Magi is +30 or +2, and Artisans is +25 or +1. When you induct a unit into the Holy Order, it gains 2 additional abilities based on which order it's in. One's progressive, one of which is a progressive ability. A Crusade Force cannot start with any of these. You got to buy them as upgrades. And then progressive abilities. Each of these abilities is made up of 2 separate parts, an initial part and an advanced part. In order to start the battle, only the initial part's active. In order for the advanced part to become active, they must perform the following action. Activate advanced protocol. At the start of your command phase, this model can perform this action. The action is completed at the start of the next command phase. When it's completed, the initial part of the model's progressive ability stops being active and it's advanced when it becomes active. So basically you sacrifice an activation to like load up the next ability. So Janitors, ability. If you're a Tech Priest, you gain the following thing. Adaptive Mastery. Once per battle, if this model is on the battlefield, when you use an Adeptus Mechanicus battle tactic, reduce its CP cost by 1. So battle tactics are basically all of these ones. So all the blue ones. So you could do elimination volley, whatever. So once per game, you get it for free, effectively. I think there's 1, 2 CP ones. So it's all, like the Electro Priest extra attack one would cost 1 instead of 2. The rest would be free. And then initial part, biochemical aggression, and your command phase of this part is active for this model. Select 1 friendly core Cataphront Servitors unit within 6 of this model. Till the start of the next command phase, each time it makes a melee attack, 6 auto wounds. And then, unmodified 6. And then advanced part, hyper cybernetic physiology, and your command phase of this part is active for this model. Select 1 friendly Cataphront Servitors or Servitors unit within 6. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a model would lose a wound, roll a d6 and it's not lost. So you get a 6+ wound shrug when you activate the big one, or a 6+ auto wound. I mean, you're making melee guys, you're basically buying a CP for 25 points to juice somebody. Logi, your ability is Scriptural Prognosis. Once per battle, if this model is on the battlefield, when you use an Adeptus Mechanicus strategic ploy stratagem, reduce its CP cost by 1. So they're all just going to do different CP ones, but those ones are going to be... Which one is it? Logi is Strategic Ploy. So the green ones. So Binaric Override, where you change your protocol. Any of these ones. There's a ton of them. The Assassin's one. Acquisition at any cost, where you make a objective basically make you unable to be broken. Crushing Weight's nice to have for free. And then progressive ability and now analysis of the logos. Predicted barrage in your command phase. If this part's active for this model, select a friendly Forge World core unit within 6 until the start of your next command phase. Each time an attack with an armor penetration characteristic of -1 or -2 is allocated to a model in this unit, the attack has a AP of 0. That's a really cool defensive ability for a core unit. And I like that from Ballesteros. And then advanced part, flaws in the foe. In your command phase of this part is active for this model. Select 1 friendly core or Cataphront Servitors unit within 6. Till the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, there's no cover. I mean, I don't think you'd ever upgrade that one. The initial part of that one is amazing. You give that, you make a Logi, because I mean, that's the most expensive one, it's 35. And then you just dump that. Like, you could make a super unit that ignores -1 and -2 AP. That's pretty great, pretty spicy. And then Magi, you get Epic Deeds for -1 once per battle. And then your programming initial part, if this is active in your command phase, select 1 friendly core unit within 6 of this model. Till the start of your next command phase, add 2 to its advanced rolls. I mean, come on, compared to this one? And then Overloaded Safeguards, the advanced one in your command phase. If this part is active for this model, select a friendly Forge World core unit within 6 of this model. Each time attack, a model that unit makes a ranged attack, it gets exploding 6s basically. 6s to hit or an additional hit. I mean, that part's cool, that part's meh. This part is so tasty to be initially active. Like, the Logi one is really good. And its advanced one you just don't need, so like, just don't even take it. And the fact that Strategic Ploy includes... Where is it? Includes my favorite one. Let's look at you, Stygies. It's Battle Tactics. Stygies is... Oh, it's the Legion Teleportarian one. Never mind. You don't need that. If you do make your own, though, you could do... Where is it? Green ones. You could blow up for free. You could electroshock for free. You can crushing weight for free. Getting a free crushing weight would be nice. And then Artisans is 1 free CP for a... Once per battle, this model is in the battlefield, use a War Gear Stratagem. You can get a free War Gear Stratagem, basically. Your initial part is Enhanced Biochemical Interface. At the end of your movement phase, if this part is active for this model, select 1 friendly Forge World Core, Forge World Cataphrine Servitors unit within 6 of this model. Till the start of your next movement phase, that unit is eligible to charge and shoot in a turn in which it fell back, but if it does so, it's -1 to hit. And then Exquisite Calibration. In your command phase, if this part is active for this model, select 1 friendly core unit within 6 of this model. Till the start of your next command phase, each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, add 1 of the strength characteristic of that attack. Then we're into Warlord traits. Oh my god, there's so much in this book. Emotionless Clarity. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Cult Mechanicus core, such as Electro Priests. The unit is eligible to charge them if they fall back. So you can fall back and charge the Electro Priests, basically, in your command phase. Yay, if you're within 6. Masterwork Bionics, 4+ invul. Each time an attack is allocated to the Warlord, -1 damage, to a minimum of 1. First-hand field testing. When you select this Warlord trait, select 1 weapon this Warlord is equipped with, excluding relics, add 1 of the strength and damage. Necromechanic. Each time a model with this Warlord trait uses Master Machines, you heal 3 instead of D3. Cartogrammatist. When you select this Warlord trait, select 1 friendly Forge World Cult Mechanicus core unit from your army. That unit gains the following ability. Orbital Teleportarium. During deployment, you can set up this unit in orbit instead of setting up this unit on the battlefield. If you do so, it shows up more than 9 to the enemy, blah, blah. Guess we get 1 free teleport. Supervisory Radiance. At the start of the fight phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Cult Mechanicus core within 9 until the start of the next fight phase. Each time a model in that unit can make a melee attack, you can reroll the hits. That's pretty cool. So within 9, reroll hits. So those are all our Tech Priest Warlord traits. For the Skitari, and named characters, Call's got to have Masterwork Bionics. He's got a 4+ invul and -1 damage, which is nice for him. Soak up some shots. So for Skitari Warlords, it's going to be Multitasking Cortex. In your command phase, select a friendly Skitari core unit within 9. Select 1 friendly Forge World Core Data Tether unit on the battlefield. Till the start of your next command phase, if they're doing an action, it can make ranged attacks without the action failing. That's pretty handy. A Battle Sphere Uplink. And sorry, that's or, not and. So you can pick a Data Tether unit that's core or a Skitari core unit and have them still shoot. Battle Sphere Uplink. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Skitari core unit within 9 of the Warlords, or select a core Data Tether unit in the battlefield. Instead of the next command phase, models in that unit do not suffer penalties for firing if they moved heavy weapons or advanced with assault weapons. Programmed Retreat. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Skitari core unit within 9 or a Data Tether core on the battlefield. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit is eligible to shoot in turns which they fell back. Archived Engagements. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Skitari core within 9 or a core Data Tether unit on the battlefield until the start of your next command phase. If that unit's within engagement range of any enemy units in the fight phase, it can fight first. So you just jack them up. So that's handy for like your Skitari, your Rust Stalkers and stuff like that, and Infiltrators. Firepoint Telemetry Cache. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Forge World Skitari core within 9, or once again, core Data Tether unit anywhere in the battlefield. Till the start of your next command phase, each time a ranged attack is allocated to a model in that unit, it's treated as receiving light cover from the attack, and if that model is entirely on or within terrain, add an additional +1 to its armor save. So your +2 save if you're on terrain. That's pretty handy. Eyes the Omnissiah. In your command phase, select 1 friendly Skitari core within 9 or Data Tether anywhere in the battlefield. Until the start of your next command phase, you can reroll advance and charge rolls. So, I mean, Programmed Retreat is probably the most useful. Remember, you can buy a secondary Warlord trait too to give to somebody like this, that they can just be doing one of these things. I feel like Programmed Retreat is probably the thing you're going to want to get yourself out of combat and still be able to shoot. And there's no penalty. It's just until the start of your next command phase that it's eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back. So you can just fall back and fire. Fight First is also super handy if you're going to make yourself a melee guy.
Yeah, I feel like this one, if you're 5-point telemetry cache, is going to be handy if you're making yourself like a bunker unit and you want to give it cover. +2 save is no joke, right, from shooting. But then programmer tree is also super handy. Taking 2 additional like little baby Skitarii warlords might be handy to, because I think you can do 2, I think, in a Strike Force game, which is what the average game is going to be. Host of the intermediary. Yeah, you can use for 2 CPs. Basically, you can have 2 guys saying, increase your saves, fall back and shoot. And your data tether units are all over the place, right? Because they're anywhere in the battlefield. So you could use it for. Who's got a data tether? Well, you guys do. I don't think the flyers do. No, but the Iron Striders all have data tethers, so it's anywhere. So you could have them fall back. Again, just a handy way of having them be able to fall back and shoot. Yeah, and it's anywhere in the battlefield. So like, yes. Program a treat, and then core data tether. I mean, you're giving them all light cover, so they have a 2+ save. So I take 2 of them, each of them have a different one in your command phase, just give them +1 save. I mean, I'm putting a lot of weight into this Iron Striders Blister unit, but it just seems crazy that you can dump all this into them. It'd be a lot of points. I mean, there's 65 points each. It's a really good unit, especially if you can have it do all these things by like your little hiding. Where is this guy? Where is he? Where's my Skitarii leader man? It's a $1 expensive thing, but he's so cheap. Skitarii Marshals, like, he just goes and hides and does this and zaps up a couple Ballistar units to make them like super huge. Because he's how many points? Skitarii Marshal is 45 points, and with no options. He just gets all out for 45 points. Yeah, being able to fall back and shoot is clutch, and then just 5-point telemetry, I think, for the other one. 2 little cheap HQs. Have them lead a Vanguard or something like that. Not a Vanguard, Outrider detachment with those guys in it. All right, we're into Relics. The Uncreator Gauntlet, that's pretty cool. It replaces a Power Fist and is ×2 -3/3 damage. When they fight, make an additional attack. Each time attack, this weapon hits a vehicle unit, it does a mortal wound on top of normal damage. I love that. Who has a Power Fist, though? I don't think many models have a Power Fist, but I like the idea. I just like the name of that, an Uncreator Gauntlet. Skitarii Marshal, Control Stave and Radium Serpenta. I don't think many models have a Power Fist. Not you. Servo Claws, Arc Scourge. Does anyone have a Power Fist? The Uncreator Gauntlet replaces a Power Fist. Has the following profile. Who has a Power Fist? I don't think any of the characters do. Nope. You have a Servo Arc Claw. Who's got a Power Fist that I'm not thinking of? Tech Priest Engineer has a Servo Arm. I'm pretty sure that's what everybody had. Counterfront Beachers. You have Power Fist, don't you? No, you have Hydraulic Claws, which are kind of Power Fists. Because things aren't called Power Fists anymore. Silver Arms. The Tech Priests don't have them. Who has a Power Fist? Come on. Taraxes? No. No. Taser Goads? Taser Lances? Castellan Fist is still not a Power Fist. Not a Power Fist. Who has a Power Fist that I'm even thinking of? I can't find anybody. Is a Power Fist even in here as a weapon? LMNOP. Range weapons, melee weapons. Power Sword, Power Fist. I don't know who has a Power Fist. I must be losing my mind. This is one of those times where it's like, this is apparently a rare item and I don't know who has one. I'm losing my mind. Options? No, you don't have one. Who gets this item? It's a cool item. I want to know who gets it. The Dominus doesn't get it. The Techno-Archaeologist doesn't get it. The Manipulus? Do you get one? No, you have a Staff and Mechadendrites and Omicine Axe. I thought everybody had like weird named weapons now. Who has an actual Power Fist? That is even eligible for one of these relics. What am I looking at here? What's the one where I can give guys extra relics? Is it you guys? Cage of Vermin. No, it's not even. It's not going to be one of you because the Alpha Princeps can only have the Cage of Veradimus, the Tempercoria, the Omniscient Mask, and the Skull of Elder Nicola. So who gets that? I have no idea who gets that. Tell me in the comments who gets the Uncreator Gauntlet because it's a cool ability, and I don't know who has a Power Fist. It replaces the Power Fist. Raymond of Technomancer, 5+ Moon Shrug. In your command phase, select a friendly Forge World Core unit within 3. Till the start of your next command phase, each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, they can ignore all hit roll and bliss skill modifiers. Skull of Nicola, so it's like Nikola Tesla's skull, get it? Elder Nikola Tesla, it's a Tesla joke. At the start of your next shooting phase, roll a d6 for each enemy vehicle within 12 of the bear. On a 2 to 3 mortal wound, 4 to 5 d3 mortal wounds, 6 it's 3 mortal wounds. Purgation's Purity, 24-inch range, replaces a Radium Serpenta. Assault 3, Strength 4, -2 damage. Each time it attacks made with this weapon, a 4+ automatically wounds on a hit. Exemplar's Eternity, it's for a Skitarii Marshal. Your Servo Skull uplink abilities are replaced with the following aura. While a friendly Forge World Core unit's within 6 of the model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. That's kind of cool. But only Skitarii Core. Who's Skitarii Core? Reroll 1s to hit and 1s to wound. It's kind of nice. I mean, most of the Skitarii units are core. Sidonian, there's Skitarii and core, yeah, so like they can reroll hits 1 and wound. Are you guys? Sure are. Ooh, that's pretty great. While a friendly Forge World Core units within 6 of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. That's pretty good for making that Death Star. I do like Death Stars. And it would affect multiple units while a friendly Forge World Skitarii Core units within 6 of this model. That feels like Exemplar's Eternity feels like one you're going to have all the time. Phosphoenix. Is there something? No, I guess it would just be that aura now. Phosphoenix. Models go with the Phosphor Serpenta only. 18-inch range, Assault 3, Strength 5, -3, 2 damage. Each time attacks made with this weapon, you don't get cover, or sorry, dense cover. Each time attacks made with this weapon against an enemy unit, if a hit's scored until the end of the phase, they are exposed and gain the following ability. While the friendly Forge World Core is within 6 of this model, each time a model with that unit makes a ranged attack against the exposed unit, they don't get dense cover. So basically, you burn the cover off everybody. Pater Cogtooth, it's an like Daddy Cogtooth. It's a Cogaxe, or replaces an Omsign Axe. +3, -2, 3 damage. Anzion Pseudogenitor replaces a it's a bonus weapon. It's +2 strength, -1 AP, 1 damage. You get 3d3 additional attacks with this thing. It's like a little like whip. The Omniscient Mask, again the following ability. While a friendly Forge World Skitarii Core units within 6 of this model, each time a model in this unit makes an attack on a modified hit roll of 6 is an additional hit. So it'll make your melee units better. Sonic Reaper, Transonic Cannon. Range 12 inches, Assault D6, 5 -2, 2 damage. Each time attacks made with this weapon, that attack automatically hits. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 5 or 6 does 2 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends. Tempercoria, or Tempercopia, sorry. At the start of the fight phase, you can select an enemy unit within 3 of the bear. They're not able to fight until after everybody else has done so, and these are ones that sergeants can have. Cage of Veradimus, each time a bearer hits an enemy unit, excluding vehicle units with a melee attack, and to the end of the phase, they're electro-shocked. Each time a model in the electro-shock unit makes an attack, they're -1 to hit. So you zap a dude. And then your bespoke cool bonus objectives. Now, I really like the Drukhari ones that we saw. I'm really hoping these ones allow you to kind of play them together as well and play into the overall theme of the army. So the first one is Accretion of Knowledge, endgame objective. Score 3 VPs at the end of the battle for each destroyed enemy model that meets one of the following criteria. They have a warlord trait, they have a relic, their vehicle has the vehicle keyword, and a wound characteristic of 14 or more. I like that. I like that that's them scrounging knowledge. Now it caps at 9, so you're only gonna get 9 from that one, but it's end of game, and 2 of these things every army is going to have. They're going to have someone with a warlord trait, they're going to have someone with a relic, and a lot of codexes now lean into warlord traits and relics. Even the special characters have warlord traits, right? So killing like one of the big demon primarchs, that's going to score you 3 right there. Obviously it should score you 3. And then just having a big vehicle, and a lot of armies have 14 wound vehicles, so that's not Titan size, that's just big. I wish it was vehicle or monster, though. I wish it included those Tyranid beasties, because you've just locked out one of those from that. But it's still cool. That's still a cool Purge the Enemy one. Even though it caps at 9, it's a good endgame one to play for. No Mercy, No Respite, Eradication of the Flesh. Score 3 at the end of the battle round. You know what I wish, though? Sorry, I'm going to make a comment before I keep going. I wish it was 4. I wish it capped at 12. Because one of those is hard to get, because it depends upon your opponent's army composition, not your own personal effort. I'd be okay with it capping at 12 instead of 9. Because then you get 8 for 2 of them. You'd have 8 available all the time, and then it could go to 12, but not quite 15. So it's still less than potentially max for taking rulebook objectives, but it doesn't depend on your opponent's army having a 14 wound vehicle or more. You know what I mean? So anyway, sorry, commentary over. No Mercy, No Respite, Eradication of Flesh. Score 3 victory points at the end of the battle round if there's at least one Adeptus Mechanicus vehicle unit from your army on the battlefield, and if Adeptus Mechanicus units from your army destroyed one or more destroyed more infantry units than vehicle units. So 3 per turn, max 15. You have to have at least one vehicle still alive. So you have to include vehicles in your army to take this one. And you have to have destroyed more infantry units in this battle round than your opponent had than your enemy's units have destroyed vehicles. So hide a vehicle somewhere where it can't really be hit. It has to be on the battlefield, so you couldn't put it in reserves and stuff like that, and then just murder. So what's a dinky little vehicle you could take and hide somewhere? Are your onagers vehicles? Obviously they are. Are the Iron Striders vehicles? Never mind. I'll have some on the table all the time then, because I'll probably take 2 maximum, maybe even 3 maximum units of those. Oh my god, 3 maximum units of those. 18 Iron Striders. It would break the bank, but it wouldn't be that expensive. It'd be like no, not even. It's 400-ish points per unit. So it's 390 before upgrades. So like 400 if you take 1 las cannon. So 1,200 points for 18 of them. Hanging out in that aura, being awesome. And they just obliterate things with their, no big deal. Assault 6 per model, so 36 autocannon shots, rerolling hits and wounds. Oh god, if I had the money and the inclination. Yes, very good. And then you just destroy more infantry than they destroyed vehicles. And then have them be the only vehicles you take. And then Battlefield Supremacy, you have 2 options. Uncharted sequencing. Before deployment, assign 1 objective marker to each battle round and note which this down your army roster. An objective marker cannot be assigned to more than 1. Score 3 at the end of the battle round if you control the objective monitor side. So if you want to predict how you're taking them, you could go up to 15 if there's 5 on the table. But again, that one's going to be based on the mission a bit as well. But it could be an easy grab. You just have to plan for it. Is it secret? For opponent assign 1. Nope, you have to tell your opponent which one's going to be. You assign them, it doesn't say secret. And then Hidden Archeo Vault. Before deployment, your opponent selects 1 objective marker on the battlefield. Score 2 VPs at the end of the battle round. If you control that objective marker, score 5 at the end of the battle if you control that objective marker. And it's your opponent selecting an objective marker. So, and they can't be in their own deployment zones. It has to be either yours or a neutral one. That's not bad. I mean, that's not bad as long as you deployed fairly. It's before deployment, so your opponent has to tell you which one it's going to be. And a lot of missions, there's just a single central objective one, and then everything else is in deployment zones. Now, sometimes it's just in territory, which would make it harder, but I like that one. That's a potential pretty. I mean, it's 10 plus 5 you own at the end of the game, so it could go to 15 if you have it every single round, plus if you hold at the end of the game. I mean, you have to grab it fast, but that's not a terrible. Like take and hold. Doesn't require an action, doesn't require anything except that you fight hard and try and take it. Crusade rules. Well, here we are. So all the core Crusade stuff. Now it does do into like, again, it dives into like, we're trying to find stuff, steal the information about it, and be Adeptus Mechanicus guys. And I like that. You get your own battle traits. Your requisitions are things like purchase this requisition at any time if your Crusade force has at least 1 architect power source and 1 type of architect. Select 1 power source and 1 type of architect you've acquired and assemble them in a new piece of architect. So your missions, you're trying to find things, and your agenda is basically how you do that. So like you tech scavenge architect and then power sources. So you're trying to find toys and batteries, and then you put them together to make them into functioning architect, which I think is super cool. And then the architect itself turns into things like your relics, your weapon enhancements, and then all of these. So how cool is that? You build your own like items, and I think that's the coolest part about this is it builds into the whole theme of the army. So you know, you get a cool like weapon part, force field part, technical arcana part, and then you put them together. So you roll to see what they are when you find them, and then you put them together to make things. This is probably the coolest part of the Crusade rules. I'm not going to go too much into it, but like you get to make your own stuff basically, and that's the whole point of you crusading is you build cooler different weapons. And now we're into data sheets. All right, so the Forge World keyword. Some already have one. If you don't have one, you assign one. Weapon profiles, abilities, so doctrine imperatives. If every unit in your army has the Adeptus Mechanicus keyword, excluding agents aligned to Knights of the Cog, that unit's characteristics are modified depending on which doctrine imperative is active for your army. Each one has 2 effects, an optimization effect that improves one of this unit's characteristics and a deprecation effect that reduces a characteristic. When the Doctrine Imperative is active, both of these units will apply to this unit. At the start of the battle round, if there's a Doctrine Assembler model from your army on the battlefield, you can select one Doctrine Imperative that's not yet been active. If you do so until the end of the battle round, they're active for your army. And then Canticles of the Omnissiah. At the start of the battle round, you can select one Canticle that has not yet been active for your army. If you do so until the end of the battle round, that Canticle is active for the army. So the Doctrina Imperatives are available to a Cybernetic Datasmith. He's got it. Who else has got it? The Scutari Marshal has it. Basically, Tech Priests have it. Technical Archaeologists have it. They can all do Doctrinas. So your characters pretty much all have that. And they can declare one to be active. And so every unit in your army, if there's one that applies, yeah, it applies for your whole army. So the first one, the Protector Imperative, BS +1, weapon skill -1. Conquer Imperative, weapon skill is improved by +1, bliss skill is reduced by 1. Bulwark Imperative, saves improved by 1 to a maximum of 2+, but -3 inches of movement. And then Aggressor Imperative, +3 move, but -1 save. So you can either go up save, down movement, down save, up movement. Now you don't have to use these. You can just choose not to do one. But it applies to the whole army. So it's neat. It's cool that you get to do that, and all of your Adeptus Mechanicus, but not the Knights, the Agents of the Imperium, and the Unaligned guys can get these like little boosts. And I think they're just at the start of the battle round. You just pick one, but it has to be one. It has to be unique. So it's all once per game. So you could lead with, for instance, +1 to hit. You might never get to +1 weapon skill, but you might at some point get +1 save if your opponent's going first. And it's the start of the battle round, so it's not during your command phase. You can just do it. And then Canticles, Shroud Psalm. Everybody gets light cover. Chant of the Remorseless Fist. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, +1 strength. Iron Soul. Each time a combat attrition is taken, there's no mods, and each time you lose a mortal wound or wound on a 5+, it's not lost. And if you have your refusal to yield as your dogma, it's a 6 instead. Benediction of the Omnissiah. Each time a unit selected to shoot, you can reroll 1 hit roll, wound roll, and damage roll. It's not or, it's all 3. And then Machine Vengeance. While it's active, each time an advance roll is or charge roll is made for this unit, roll additional d6 and discard the lowest. And then finally, Electromancer. While this Canticle is active, each time a melee attack is made against this unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. And we're into profiles. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on the profiles because honestly, there's so many profiles in 40k right now. I'm not gonna really spot them. I'm gonna flip through and talk about a little bit which ones I like and which ones I don't like, but I'm not gonna do like a deep dive because they're generally gonna be mostly the same. There'll be some small tweaks probably here and there. Call is still beefy. Thomas 6 with 8 wounds, 2+ save. He's still fighty too and does pretty much everything. He's got a refractor field, but he automatically has, I don't know why they gave him a refractor field and then also gave him the command trait where he has Masterwork Bionics. So he has a 4+. Like, Call, Masterwork Bionics. So 4+ invulnerable save, but a refractor field. It doesn't, I don't know why they would do both. I guess if you took him out of the army, so he didn't have a command trait, I guess. Like if you took him as your warlord, then he'd still have a 5+. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, he's going to be your warlord. And then you give somebody else the relic, because he gets that for free. Automatically Mars, obviously. Manipulus, the Dominus. Again, There's some cool builds in here. You can still do a pretty cool robot build around the big robots, but I really like the Skitarii build. I really like the Ballistari. They're just really cool, and the two little marshals, because the marshals can hide behind them. They're squishy and stuff like that, but that marshal with that relic where they reroll hits and wounds, and then give him the command trait where he's got a 9-inch aura. So you give him, it's just a hit roll of 1 each time a model in that unit makes an attack. Reroll a hit roll of 1 and a wound roll of 1. That's each time a model in that unit makes an attack. So like it's by models. So I get to reroll 6 hits of 1 and 6 wound rolls of 1. The wording is interesting on that one. I felt like it's supposed to be like the unit rerolls 1 hit roll. Reroll a hit roll of 1 and a reroll of 1 for wounds. So like you can reroll 1 hit roll of 1 and 1 wound roll 1, but it says each time a model makes an attack. I don't know. But it's not pluralized. It's strangely worded. Anyway, I like that marshal being there. I like the ability to have them get boosted by him, and he can still hide because obviously he's a character. You just want to make sure that snipers and stuff don't get to him. Rangers and Vanguard are both very cool. The different dogmas really beefing up their weapons, like the Radium Carbine's getting quite a beef up, and the Galvanic Rifles as well. Breachers are still pretty cool. Servers, I don't know. The Electro Priests are pretty great. They're still super squishy, so delivering them's hard. They have invols, which is still nice, and some shrugs can be applied to them too by the right dogmas. Data Smiths, the 4+ save, I mean, obviously you can boost saves now. So you can take the different imperatives that are going to allow you to have like a 3+ save for the turn that you really need it, or to get you into combat and stuff like that. But toughness 3, I don't know. I feel like the Horsies have kind of like superimposed over the Psycharans quite a bit. I was hoping the Psycharans would just go to toughness 4. They're big enough and the models are impressive enough that I feel like toughness 4 isn't overrated. Yeah, I would have made them toughness 4. If like a Data Smith is toughness 4, then these guys should be toughness 4. And obviously all of the mounts now are toughness 4 as well. I really like the Ballistari. They're just such cool models, and also, I mean, 18 of them is $1 gajillion, but you can make a pretty horrifying brick of Ballistari for your army. And then back it up with a Knight. Dragoons and Castellan Robots. The Scorpius, the Onager, Dune Rider. The Archaeopter, which I still wish was Copter. And I'm sure there's going to be some changes to this again, like I said. Weapons, and then have a look. If you care about points, here's all your points. Just in case I'm missing anything, I'm trying to hold it steady. And that's it. And so there you go. A look at Codex Adeptus Mechanicus, the latest 9th edition 40k Codex to come down the pipe. All that new stuff from Psychic Awakening being rolled into it, and a one-stop shop for all the fans of the Martian stealers, the guys who like to go around and steal all the technology from the galaxy and pretend it would belong to them the whole time. So anyway, big thanks for Games Workshop sending around this free sample for me to check out and for you guys to look at. I do like the miniatures so much for the Mechanicus. There's a few I'm not a huge fan of. Like, I love the new Archaeocopter. I have a small collection I painted for a kill team that I might try out, like a small like Crusade force with. Or maybe I'll grab the Comp Patrol box because I could easily make it in. I'm not a huge fan of all the vehicles. I like this guy, I like the Onager Dune Crawler. I like the robots and stuff because they just tickle my like Road Trader heart, and I like the style. But I'm not a fan of the Cataphront Breachers. I'd probably build a Skitarii army, obviously around the units that I've been talking about that like popped out to me when I was doing the review. Because Ballistari are just really cool. But it would be one unit of 6 to like start the army around, and take like just like a detachment with one of my knights and stuff like that to probably pad it out to try out the army and see if it's any good. But there's some neat build options obviously, and the models are awesome. Nothing says grimdark like weird robot mans that like to cut off their body and replace it with machine parts in order to be better. So anyway, big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more reviews in the future. Ton of mash. And we're gonna
I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Desperate Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.